Self-mastery contemplates sufficient control over the appetites to enable one to feed them what they need and withhold food not needed.
Your viewpoint is both interesting and educational. Describe the details through which I may understand how and under what circumstances people overfeed the appetites. People overfeed the appetites. People overfeed the appetites.
Take the desire for physical food, for example. The majority of people are so weak in self-discipline they fill their stomachs with combinations of rich food which please the taste but overwork the organs of digestion and elimination. They pour into their stomachs both quantity and combinations of food, which the body chemist can dispose of only by converting the food into deadly toxic poisons. These poisons clog and stagnate the body's sewer system until it slows down in its work of elimination of waste matter. After a while, the sewer system stops working altogether, and the victim has what he calls constipation. By that time, he is ready for the hospital. Auto-intoxication, or body sewer poisoning, takes the machinery of the brain and rolls it into something resembling a wad of putty. The victim then becomes sluggish in his physical movements and mentally irritable and fussy. Only take one good look at and one bad smell of his sewer system, he would be ashamed to look himself in the face. City sewers are not the pleasantest of places when they become overloaded or clogged, but they are clean and sweet compared with the intestinal sewer when it has been overloaded or clogged. This is not a pretty story to be associated with the pleasant and necessary act of eating, but that is where it belongs, because overeating and wrong food combinations are the evils which cause auto-intoxication. People who eat wisely and keep their body sewers clean handicap me, because a clean body sewer generally means a sound body and a brain that functions properly. Imagine, if your imagination can be stretched that far, how any human being could move with definiteness of purpose with his body sewer filled with enough poison to kill 100 people if it were injected into their bloodstream directly.
And all this trouble is the result of lack of control over the physical appetite for food.
Well, if you wish to be absolutely correct, you should say that improper eating is responsible for the majority of the ills of the body, and practically all headaches.
So practically all headaches are due to improper eating.
If you want proof of this, select 100 people suffering with headaches and give each of them a thorough washing out of their body sewer systems with a high enema, and observe that no fewer than 95 of the headaches will disappear within a few minutes after the sewers have been cleaned.
The internal sewage system that he's speaking of is the human intestinal tract.
All you say about the intestinal tract, I gather the impression that mastery over the physical appetite for food means also mastery over the habit of neglecting to keep the intestines clean.
Yes, that is true. It is just as important to eliminate the waste matter of the body and the unused portions of food as it is to take the right amount in the correct combinations of food.
I never thought of auto-intoxication as being one of your devices of control over people.
Auto-intoxication is when a poison is formed by the toxins that are created within the intestinal tract due to the failure to properly eliminate waste. And the reason why you're unable to properly eliminate that waste is because a lot of the foods that you're eating are dead and low vibratory foods, okay?
And I am utterly shocked to know how many people are victims of this subtle enemy. Let's hear what you have to say of the other two appetites.
Well, take the desire for sex expression. Now there is a force with which I master the weak and the strong, the old and the young, the ignorant and the wise. In fact, I master all who neglect to master sex.
How can one master the emotion of sex?
By the simple process of transmuting that emotion into some form of activity other than copulation. Sex is one of the greatest of all forces which motivate human beings. Because of this fact, it is also one of the most dangerous forces. If humans would control their sex desires and transmute them into a driving force with which to carry on their occupation, that is, if they spent on their work 1/2 the time they dissipate in pursuit of sex, they would never know poverty.
Do I understand you to imply there is a relationship between sex and poverty?
Yes, where sex is not under definite control. If allowed to run its natural course, sex will quickly lead one into the habit of drifting.
Is there any relationship between sex and leadership?
Yes. All great leaders in every walk of life are highly sexed, but they follow the habit of controlling their sex desires, switching them into a driving force behind their occupation.
Is the habit of overindulgence in sex as dangerous as the habit of taking narcotics or liquor?
There is no difference between these habits. Both lead to hypnotic control through the habit of drifting.
Why does the world look upon sex as something vulgar?
Because of the vulgar abuse people have made of this emotion. It is not sex that is vulgar. It is the individual who neglects or refuses to control and guide it.
Do you mean by your statement that one should not indulge the desire for sex?
No, I mean that sex, like all other forces available to man, should be understood, mastered, and made to serve man. The desire for sex expression is as natural as the desire for food. The desire can no more be killed than one can entirely stop a river from flowing. If the emotion of sex is shut off from the natural mode of expression, it will break out in some other, less desirable form, just as a river will, if dammed, break through and flow around the dam. The person who has self-discipline understands the emotion of sex, respects it, and learns to control and transmute it into constructive activities.
Just what damage is there in overindulgence of sex?
The greatest damage is that it depletes the source of man's greatest driving force, and wastes, without adequate compensation, man's creative energy.
So overindulgence in sex is literally a waste of your life force energy.
It dissipates energy needed by nature to maintain physical health. Sex is nature's most useful therapeutic force. It depletes the magnetic energy which is the source of an attractive, pleasing personality. It removes the sparkle from one's eyes and sets up discord in the tone of one's voice. It destroys enthusiasm, subdues ambition, and leads inevitably to the habit of drifting on all subjects.
I would like for you to answer my question in another way by telling me what beneficial ends the emotion of sex may be made to attain if mastered and transmuted.
Controlled sex supplies the magnetic force that attracts people to one another. It is the most important factor of a pleasing personality. It gives quality to the tone of voice and enables one to convey through the voice any feeling desired.
Oh, give it.
It serves as nothing else can serve to give motive power to one's desires.
I want you to be my lady.
It keeps the nervous system charged with the energy needed to carry on the work of maintaining the body.
Lady, oh, baby. Sweet lady, would you be my sweet love for a lifetime?
It sharpens the imagination and enables one to create useful ideas. It gives quickness and definiteness to one's physical and mental movements. It gives one persistence and perseverance in the pursuit of one's major purpose in life.
Hi, Chris.
Mr. Fromm, good to see you.
Nice shirt.
Thank you, sir.
Chris.
Hey, Jay.
Chris. Sit down, please.
I thought I'd wear a shirt today. you know, being the last day and all.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. But, wear one tomorrow, though, okay? Because tomorrow's going to be your first day. If you'd like to work here as a broker. Would you like that, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Good. We couldn't be happier. So, welcome. Was it as easy as it looked?
No, sir. No, sir, it wasn't.
Good luck, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Oh, Chris. I almost forgot.
Thank you. This part of my life, this little part, is called happiness.
It is a great antidote for all fear. It gives one immunity against discouragement. It helps to master laziness and procrastination. It gives one physical and mental endurance while undergoing any form of opposition or defeat.
He is the one.
It was at this point that Neo had awakened from the illusion, as many of us are doing as we speak, and he was actually able to see the enemy for what they actually are, which is a computer program, and he was able to decode the energy that they represent, which is false evidence appearing real. Okay? He is able to defeat them effortlessly now because he knows that all of their moves are programmed and therefore predictable.
It gives one the fighting qualities necessary under all circumstances for self-defense, self-defense, self-defense.
The purpose of this study is to arm you with the wisdom needed to predict the very programmed moves of the narcissist, thereby proving to you that they can be defeated without much effort. Now he is a spirit-infused human being.
In brief, it makes winners.
That smile on her face, I think, before she landed that
Winners.
time.
Winners.
Look at the jump off the table.
Winners. Winners.
Reaches for the ground, just a slight little hop once again.
Winners.
That's a 1/10 of a point hop.
Winners. 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 and not quitters.
Are those all the advantages you claim for controlled sex energy?
No, they are only some of the more important benefits it provides. Perhaps some will believe the greatest of all the virtues of sex is that it is nature's method of perpetuation of all living things. This alone should remove all thought that sex is vulgar.
I gather from what you say that the emotion of sex is a virtue, not a fault.
It is a virtue when controlled and directed to the attainment of desirable ends. Fault when neglected and permitted to lead to acts of lust.
Why aren't these truths taught to children by their parents in the public schools?
The neglect is due to ignorance of the real nature of sex. It is just as necessary in maintaining health for one to understand and properly use the emotion of sex as it is to keep the body's sewer system clean. Both subjects should be taught in all public schools and all homes where there are children.
Wouldn't the majority of parents need instruction on the proper function and use of sex before they could intelligently teach their children?
Yes, and so would the public school teachers.
What relative position of importance would you give to the need for accurate knowledge on the subject of sex?
It is next to the top of the list. There is but one thing of greater importance to human beings. That is accurate thought.
Do I understand you to say that knowledge of the true functions of sex and ability to think accurately are the two things of greatest importance to mankind?
That is what I intend you to understand.
Knowledge of the true functions of sex and the ability to think accurately are the two greatest functions of mankind. Why is this so? First, because sexual energy is a very powerful, raw, creative energy. And when you use the power of the mind to mold and shape that energy, you become a master, manifester, and co-creator of realities.
Accurate thinking comes first because it is the solution to all man's problems, the answer to all his prayers, the source of opulence and all material possessions. Accurate thinking is aided by properly controlled and directed sex emotion, because sex emotion is the same energy as that with which one thinks. It begins with those who desire self-determination sufficiently to be willing to pay its price.
I thought I'd wear a shirt today, being the last day and all.
No one can be entirely free, spiritually, mentally, physically, and economically, without learning the art of accurate thinking. No one can learn to think accurately without including, as a part of the needed knowledge, information on the control of sex emotion through transmutation.
It will be a great surprise to many people to learn there is so close a relationship between thinking and sex emotion.
Whoa, ow, come on in here, Jesus.
Tell us now about the third appetite, and let's see what it has to do with self-discipline.
The habit of expressing loosely organized opinions is one of the most destructive of habits.
So let's take a look at a live exhibit of uncontrolled sex emotion, thinking, and expressing loosely organized opinions. Check it out.
I think that this is God showing Black people, Black Americans, bitch, that this is exactly why you don't got what you need to motherfucking have.
Its destructiveness consists in its tendency to influence people to guess instead of searching for the facts.
Hosea, also known as Hosea. Come on in here, bitch. If you're from the hoe, if you're a hoe from the sea, bitch, say amen.
The habit develops a grasshopper mind, one that jumps from one thing to another but never completes anything.
Thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore, I will change their glory into shame. Now, see, the Spirit of God talk about people that are out here procreating, having children, just to have fucking children when their generation have been cursed. Oh, see, y'all not ready for that. A lot of you motherfuckers out here having children, and you keep on doing it, girl, and you know that your spirit ain't right. Your spirit is broken. The daddy's spirit is broken. Y'all having children, now they broken. And you are the type of, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, girl. Let's not blame the world on your own damn desires, girl. You know about witchery and shit. We talk about witches now. These so-called witches now. We're not talking about you regular folks. We're talking about these so-called witches. I'm gonna do a love spell. How many of you people out there that did love spells? How many people done work on their children being healed? being protected from perverts. Oh shit. See, but you ought to worry about getting some dick, and you worried about getting and keeping friends and getting people to fucking like your ass, bitch. And the true people that's gonna like you, bitch, are your children. Those are the people you should be concerned about liking you as your fucking children, not your friends, not your family, not no man next door, not no man that you met at the grocery store or motherfucking the gas station. Your motherfucking children, girl, that's what you should be concerned about. Get on my damn nerve. Tell you, we need to pass what China passed. 1 child per adult, bitch. If you have more than 1 child, bitch, your ass needs to be locked up.